Welcome to Weekly 52. My name is Thomas Füngerlings. I am a photographer, blogger and a podcaster since 2017. In this episode, you can dive deep into the Festival La Gacilly-Baden Photo. It's the largest outdoor photo festival in Europe. The festival in Austria near Vienna is entering its 6th year. It appeals strongly to visitors by presenting themes of a clearly humanist orientation. In 2023, its 35 exhibitions deal with a variety of aspects in the relationship between humans and their environment. Integrated into the public space are about 1,500 photographs. The motto 2023 is Orient, and in hyphens, rebellious and deeply rooted images of hope from the Orient, a photographic journey between light and shadow. This episode guides you through the entire exhibition, so today you can listen to the photographers themselves. For each exhibition, the respective artists tell you the stories and background to the pictures. The gripping first-hand information is very interesting and sometimes very moving. Listen to what Abbas brother says about his pictures, why Miryam Firuzi almost cried, and how Fatima Hossaini photographs Persian women in her homeland. At the beginning, Lois welcomes all the photographers present and the French Festival Committee. Gregor Schörg begins the tour and reports on the landscape photo he took with a drone. Especially in the middle part, I would really like to recommend the 3 poignant stories by Fatima Hossaini, Miryam Firuzi and Véronique de Vergerie. You can jump to the respective statements by using the timestamps. In the blog you also find a selection of pictures discussed from the tour, and I will say have fun. Next week, Pia and I will report in a shorter episode about our personal impressions and highlights from the festival, and we show our creative implementation in dialogue with the exhibition images. Best regards from Thomas from Weekly 52. Bye.
I like this silence. This shows respect. Let's climb the stage, ladies. Come. We are running a little late, and therefore I'm in the pity situation that we should start even if not all are here. So, as a director of a festival, you have to make decisions. But, and this is one. But I'm not here to talk about decisions. I'm here to talk about the wonderful moment to see you again every year. And I'm so proud what you did bring along. If angels travel, we have the saying, the weather will be good. So thank you for that. I know this is also a pity, because yesterday it was a little bit too cold, maybe today it's a little bit too hot. So, what do? As photographers, we can stand that, I guess. 2 days ago, I was sitting in my office and I was thinking what's happening. And I was thinking that an airplane is taking off in Tehran. I was thinking that another airplane is taking off in New York, another one in Quito, another one in Rome, in Copenhagen, in Berlin and London, in Brussels, in Hamburg, of course. Paris.
Tehran.
Yeah, Tehran. But many people did take off in Paris. And imagine this for a second, together with me, what it means. If you look like from the universe, that so many people take the time the burden, the energy, the love to come to a certain place and unite. And I heard that, Mr. Gede. I never heard that, Mr. Gede. We talk later. Ah. I thought we were friends, but but anyway, there's not a perfect world, but we try. But I did take it on a personal level to imagine all this, and then I thought to myself, why are you doing it? And I found quickly an answer. Because you're all lovers. You love photography. And photography is maybe one of the most amazing, most fascinating tools available in our history. It opens all doors, and more important, it opens all hearts. And even looking at you and knowing that each one of you is a very special individual, very prominent photographer, sponsor, partner, whatever, but at the end, we are a little bit of a family, and the energy of all of us is bigger than the individual. And this is what photography is so unique. And so thank you for being here, and it's my honor to welcome, in the first place, the mayor of La Gacilly, Philippe Nochet. It's, I do not have the right words, because the next person to introduce to you is kind of guilty that we're here. And he's le président of La Gacilly, and he's the outgoing president, as it is called, the departing president. And it fills my heart with sadness, because we did not share every minute the same opinion, of course not. But at the end, we did achieve something what is unique. The format what Auguste Coudray, this is his name, please welcome le Président Auguste Coudray. Welcome. What we created is unique. Of course, each festival in itself is unique and it's good enough. But to bring together two places for one festival, for one idea, and the festival, what was created in La Gacilly in the first place, is special because it does have a manifest as a program. So it's dedicated to show the world and the value what we should live up to. It has two narratives, as you know. We're taking care about the human condition on one leg of the narratives, and the other leg is the condition of the planet. And of course in Baden we're a little bigger than La Gacilly by a factor 10, so we have stakeholders here. So we have to add on things which are interesting as well. But the core, and this is also how we try to set it up, mostly in the two parks, Gutenbrunner Park and what is the other park? Gutenbrunner Park and Doppelhof Park. Thank you, the bigger one, and the Kurpark as well. We contain the spirit of La Gacilly there. We do not make interferences with other options. So the core of it stays as it should be. And to have it in these two places is very European. Because the one place is about 80 kilometers away from the Atlantic Ocean, and Baden is about the same distance to where the Iron Curtain used to be. So in the meantime is the matrix on which Europe has been established, the modern day Europe. And as I understand it, this is a program for peace. Europe is the bloodiest soil on the on all the planet. And to have now for a long time a fragile but more or less peace is something what we have to maintain with all means. And this festival, and I think I'm not exaggerating, is trying to help to keep it this way and experience it and develop it. So the rest of the prominent photographers being here will be introduced by Sylvia, and then Florence, Drouhet, will address a welcome to the French part of the audience, and in French, of course. And then I give you a short itinerary, and then we walk. And we walk for quite a bit, as you know. It's tiring. At the end, there is a table waiting with fish and dumplings and wine, and hopefully a very comfortable temperature to spend a night together, spend an evening together in the spirit of photography. And I welcome you here in Baden with all I have in my heart. I'm so happy that you're here. Thank you.
So it's such a pleasure for me and for us to welcome so many today. We are around 160 journalists, TV stations, sponsors, and these wonderful photographers. And those photographers who will guide us through their exhibitions today, I want to welcome by name. These are, I need my glasses, and the list. No, thank you. So, Antonin Borchot, please come to us and show your face and your body.
And your glasses.
Where are you? Very welcome. In the first row, please. Of course, from France. Yeah. Then Sarah Caron from France.
Sarah?
Sarah, stop talking, come to us. She will arrive. We can wait. Bravo, Sarah.
Bravo. Here she is. Welcome.
Then Gabriele Ceccone, of course, from Italy.
Here is.
And now some ladies. Goha Dashti from Iran. Véronique de Vingary from France.
Welcome, Veronique.
Miryam Firuzi, Iran. Ulrike Hausen representing AKG Images. We have an exhibition by Paul Almasi from AKG Images. Andrea Holzer representing Magnum Photo. The exhibition is Abbas. Andrea.
Here she comes.
Welcome. And the curator of Fond Abbas Photos, Benam Attar-Hamedani. Next, Fatima Hossaini from Afghanistan. Pascal Maître from France. last year's artist in residence, and the text and the lyrics were made by Katharina Haderer. She's here, I suppose. I have her on my list. Katharina, she's not here. Quel dommage. Then Alisa Martynova from Russia. Where is she? Yeah. Please first draw yours smaller than the guys. Now, Gregor Schörg from Austria. Where is Gregor? He's coming. Hashem Shakeri from Iran. Monet Sharma from India. Brigitte Kössner-Skoff und Gerhard Skoff, Austria. Horst Stasny, Austria. Where is he? Wo ist er?
I've seen him.
Horst. Ah, he's lazy. He wants to sit. That's not possible. I mean, Horst is 80. Was 81. So look at him. He looks like 60. Katrin Stukhard from Austria. Maxime Taillez, France. And Melanie Wenger, France. So these photographers will tell us something about their exhibition. Then we have some more photographers. Ina Kühne, she's the one who is photographing permanently. She's the artist in residence this year from Germany. And tomorrow you will hear wonderful talks about photography, of course, but I want to welcome the photographers today also. Welcome, please, George Steinmetz, USA. He will be in conversation with Phil Mistry. Better Pixel, not the country, but the media. Then I welcome Brent Sturton, South Africa. Where is he? You have no connection. Where is he? We have no tigers or leopards in Baden, so maybe yes, no. We will see him.
We have seen him.
Okay, and he will be in conversation with Soren Bakhta. Soren? From the Danish School of Media and Journalism. Vincent Joly from Figaro magazine and Abdallah El Shami from Al Jazeera will be in conversation with the four ladies, Goham, Fatima, Miryam, and Veronique. Please, Vincent and Abdallah. Where are you? Where are you?
Abdallah is coming.
They thought they must work tomorrow, not today.
Yeah, maybe Brent and Versailles are at the swimming pool.
And last but not least, Pablo Corral Vega from Ecuador, who presented us last year his wonderful exhibition about the ants, and will talk tomorrow about bestiaries in different ways. Where is Corral? Is he here? That's it. So let's continue in French.
Bonjour à tout le monde, je parle donc en français. My French is best than my Dutch. Bienvenue, willkommen, welcome, here in Baden, ici à Baden. Nous sommes très heureux de vous accueillir. Les noms sont universels. Vous allez voir le programme de cette année qui est riche et précieux, avec beaucoup de femmes photographes. Bienvenue. Des talents qui parlent de beaucoup d'endroits du monde et qui s'expriment avec beaucoup de talent. And thank you everybody to come here in Baden, and it's really nice to have you here. In English, well, but this is just my few words for, okay. And a special hello to Auguste, because Auguste founded the festival with Jacques 20 years ago in La Gacilly and made a great job during 20 years. So I said it in English because I want everybody to understand what I said to you, and it's really a special dedication to you from me and of course Lois, but because thank you for making this huge concept and beautiful idea, and to have do it during 20 years and with a lot of success, and thank you, bravo.
So as we know, presidents don't work much, so we also should address those who do the work. There's Camille Froger from La Gacilly. Camille. And from Baden, of course, it's Johanna Reitmeier. Birgit Hofbauer. And Martin Ackerl. And a big, big thank you needs to go to the city of Baden, because they do an amazing work. They do the hands-on work. And representing all of them is the Director of Gardening, Andreas Kastinger. So it's a little risky for him to be here, because if a plate maybe does not stand in the really perfect angle, it's not us. So no, we can take that and we will correct it, of course, if there's a picture not straight enough. So this was the welcome. So you did it, you have it behind you, and now we walk. We walk in this direction. The first stop over there is with Gregor Schörg. Then we come to the most successful photography award ever, the CEWE award, and we introduce you to this, and then we continue, and you will feel it. There will be a break in between, like last year at Anna Mühle. You will get something to eat, something to drink, but get ready. It's an adventure. Yeah, there's somewhere, there should be for everyone a bottle of water. Even if it's not a desert, maybe it's helpful.
So, I think everyone's here. Looks good. Okay, welcome. Hi, my name is Gregor Schörg. I'm a 21-year-old photographer based in this beautiful city, Baden. I recognize many faces from last year, because last year I presented to you the wilderness area Dürnstein-Lassingtal in the winter season. This year I have the honor to present to you the spring, summer and fall season combined in one exhibition right behind me. Bisschen näher? Okay, gut, passt. Um, the spring, summer, and fall season was tricky to photograph. The weather conditions were very complicated, switching between extreme windy situations, rainy, and extreme hot conditions. The best part about the summer, I don't have to carry as much batteries for my drones with me. The life expressions of the batteries from my drones reached up to 40 to 50 minutes. So I could go up there with much less weight in my backpack. This year we were 34 times on the mountain, which took 5 hours to go up and 5 hours to go down. I was there with my guide all the time, so big thanks to him. And yeah, I took all the photos with a drone because we wanted to keep the the primeval forest untouched as possible. To get the best shots, I went up there, looked for some spots, took my drone out and flew over the situation to get the best image possible. Once we went up there, a big thunderstorm was coming and we were trapped up there for 2 days. This was a very difficult situation for all of us, even the guide, my friend, and me. And yeah, Lois, would you take over, please? Can you take over? Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Taking over means walking further. Thank you, Gregor. So, it's not far for the next stop. One of the concept principles of this festival is that we have the exhibitions quite close to each other, so that when you leave one, you see already the next one, and the next one is welcoming you with a beautiful statue with a ride on a horse, which of course has not much to do with the CEWE Photo Award. As I mentioned before, is the largest of its kind in the world. And before I hand over the microphone to the speaker of the company, Mr. Christian Wilbers, I will give you my reasons to have it. The reasons to have it is, for me, very much seen in the fact that this exhibition makes a connection. It makes the connection between the professional photographers who are on show here, who have their exhibitions here and tell the stories about the world, to the people who come, to our visitors, to our friends, to those who are amateurs in the word's best sense. Amateurs in the best sense because amateur means lover. And this is where we meet them. We are also photo lovers, but they also are passionate about photography, live photography, eat photography, digest photography, and do a lot of photographs which they submit to this award. And this award, of course, is not based on just photography, it's based on a philosophy. The philosophy did end up into a claim which is called "Our world is beautiful." And to know more about how beautiful our world is, I would ask Christian Wilbers to explain how and why they did choose this claim that should make sense not only for the company but also for the photography lovers and for us as well. So please welcome with me Mr. Christian Wilbers, the speaker of CEWE.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having us. That's first off. A big thank you to you, Lois, for having us here in Austria. A big thank you to our Austrian team who made this happen, who's been supporting this this beautiful exhibition for 4 years now, as far as I understand, exactly. We're really happy to be here on this very beautiful day. Some of us arrived from northern Germany, little different weather, so we're happy you even made the weather beautiful for us. We really appreciate that. Before I talk about the CEWE Photo Award just a little bit, I think it's important to give you just a little bit of background about our company. Last night at the dinner, I realized many of you guys don't actually know CEWE. So maybe first, what do we do? What do we specialize on? We have 3 footprints in our business. One is a retail side of things that's mostly in Eastern Europe and in Northern Europe and Scandinavia. We have a large footprint in commercial online printing. But obviously our heart, our passion, our roots are in photo finishing, in the development and in the finishing of photo products. Now, I think it's clear that the biggest side of it, the commercial side of it, is a side that's not necessarily artistic. You all know that today everybody has hundreds of photos, thousands of photos on their cell phones, and these photos don't maybe have the highest artistic value, but they have high emotional value. And that's what we're really proud of, that people come to us to have these photos printed in photo books, in wall print, but all sorts of other, in calendars. We have a rich portfolio of products that we develop and that we produce. Now, again, the question is that you might ask, why are you here? Why are you supporting this award? I think there's 2 sides to this. One of it is a technical side, that we believe that even photos with maybe lower artistic value but high emotional value deserve to be printed at the highest quality. The quality that's even good enough for you guys here. That's our firm belief. There's a technical side to it, how it's done. I can't really speak to that. You have a lot of time now. There's the man who knows it, Rainer Faget, my colleague, the man with the sunglasses and the, it's not a pink shirt, Rainer, is it? Is it pink? So you'll find him. He's been with the company for 25 years. He's our board member for research and development. He knows every technical aspect of how we do our business, and I really encourage you to talk to him today and ask him all the questions that you have about the technical side. There is another side of it. There's an emotional side of our business, and I think to understand that, you have to understand what these 2 letters stand for, the C and the W. They're not my initial. They are my initials, but they have nothing to do with me. I am not the son of the founder. The man who gave his initials to the company, his name was Karl Wölche, and he was a photographer. He started getting into photography early in the 20th century, and he did something that we would today call, he followed his passion. In Germany we would say, hat sein Hobby zum Beruf gemacht. He founded a little photo studio and really made money from his hobby, from his passion, from photography. Interesting side story that I can maybe tell you at dinner. It was actually his wife that made it into a veritable business. He was a very good photographer, apparently not much of a businessman. Different story. But the important thing is that if you come to Oldenburg or to Germering or to Vienna, to any of our locations, you feel that this passion for photography has lived on. People come join CEWE because they're passionate about photography. The people that work in our production are passionate about photography. Lois and I were just having a conversation yesterday about the fact that some of the people that work in Germering at a production site will join and watch and meet photographers at a photo festival in Zurich later this year. So we really make this connection between what we produce and where it ends up, and it's really important to us. And I think that's the reason why we support this photo festival. And I think it's also the reason why we have this claim for our photo award that we're really proud of. It is the largest in the world. The motto is "Our world is beautiful," and I think that's what comes together in where we make our money and where we come from. It's beauty, right? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and the photo that I have on my phone with my children, they might not be artistically beautiful, but they're beautiful to me. And I think that's what ties it together, and that's why we're here. Thank you.
Thank you, Christian. Thank you, CEWE, being our partner from many years now, 4 years now. And making a point which is really crucial and important. All the photographers we are highlighting here, they are picky. They look for highest possible quality. That means that they want to have their images, even in the sunlight, even in the rain, seen at the best possible condition. And not every printer can do that. Only a few can do that. And CEWE is an industrial provider of this. Usually it's small hands-on companies who claim that they can do. But that an industrial organized company can deliver this quality. Look around, it's just as amazing as you can imagine, and this is important for the success of a festival. So thank you, CEWE, in many different aspects. First, to support us financially, and secondly, to deliver incredible quality prints. And it's really important to have that. And to come back to your claim, our world is beautiful. Peter Matthias Gede must be here around, the 20-year editor-in-chief at Geo magazine, and in a speech about 11 years ago, and I will never forget his words. He coined a sentence I really would like to carry on to you and have it maybe you take it into your heart. He said, there should be a human right for beauty. And if there would be more beauty in the world, there would be more peace. Think about it. I really like that sentence a lot. And now we go on to an exhibition of Chloé Azzopardi. Sorry.
One more word. Just, you guys can obviously look at the pictures here and hopefully be convinced by our quality, but you can also take our quality home. As far as I understand, you all find these in your hotel rooms, in your bags. And these are printed by CEWE, and so hopefully you'll find the quality is where you expected. Thank you.
I thank you. Thank you, CEWE. Thank you, Christian. May I hand you over your water as a first prize for doing that? So, Florence Drouhet, you need to tell us a story about a photographer who is unfortunately not here. But before we arrive at her location, I would like to ask you to carry your attention to the Casino of Baden, which is, by the way, the largest casino in Europe. Look at the many buildings here, and by the way, where you see upstairs under the clock, there will be our celebration of photography tomorrow night called the Long Night of Photography, and on the terrace we will have our dinner to honor the 184th birthday of photography. But on the walls of the casino, and this is not something what you really expect that will be done. So I was really surprised that the management of the casino agreed to it, and we have two super large images out of this award placed on the casino walls, one on this side, one on the other side. And this is unique, I think. I think it's the only casino in the world who shows serious photography outside and has a commitment to it. So the next stop is the exhibition of Chloé Azzopardi, which unfortunately cannot be with us today. So I ask Florence Drouhet to share her thoughts about her work with us.
So we begin by this exhibition. This exhibition, in fact, first few words about the program we had with Vichy magazine and gallery in Paris and Arles, well, in France. So this is a program made by Vichy and La Gacilly in partnership with La Gacilly Festival, and they make a kind of jury or selection committee, and they choose each year 3 photographers from the new generation and working on a new way with the new how to use the documentary photography in a new form, new way of writing with photography. So Chloé Azzopardi is a French photographer. She born in 1994. in 1994, sorry. And she works on a very original way with the interaction between people and nature, and especially with in this series with the animals. So because we have a lot of common ADN with certain animals, and so she tried to find a very sensitive and emotional and sensual way to explore this relationship between people and animals, and well, in this way, but with nature. This exhibition is outdoor, but very often in her work, in her exhibition indoor, she show her pictures with natural piece. She take when she walk in the forest, in everywhere, like stones, woods, piece of woods with a very original form. And very often in her exhibition, she show together. And so it's a really poetic way of to document and to talk about the sensuality of the nature and of the world.
Thank you everyone to be here. I'm Maxime Taillez. I was born in France. Now I live in Brussels. I'm going to present you my work on the France's borders. So I initiated it 11 years ago, as I was constantly traveling through the border, and I realized, at least in Europe due to the Schengen area, our borders can be easy to pass now when you are European citizen. So I've been focusing on the people behavior and how they use a territory that has lost its main purpose. So I started with the border with Belgium, when all the border patrols are now closed. One of them is actually a chocolate shop now, so that makes you realize how unuseful is it. And then I pursued it. I've continued through Luxembourg, Germany, the Alps, and then the Pyrenees. And this is where I changed my point of view on the subject. At first, to me, a border in Europe, it was useless. It was just a view from the spirit, like a separation between two points of view. But then I came to the Alps, and I'm gonna lead you to those pictures over there. When then you can enter in contact with the true frontier, a true border, a physical one. So it made me change my point of view. I think it will for you too. And I hope you'll enjoy it. Thank you for coming.
Alisa Martynova. I hope I pronounced it correctly.
You do. Thank you. Well, hello everyone. It's great to see you here. And my exhibition is called Nowhere Near. I'll closely explain this, the title to you. And the project is about African migration in Europe, and it was made both in Italy and France through the years. And it's an ongoing project, so it will continue. And the thing that I decided to work on is mostly the feeling of how it is to be a migrant, rather than a news story, because there were already very good photographers who worked on this in the reportage race, so I decided to approach the story in a different way. So I spent a lot of time without actually taking the pictures, just talking to people, talking to the migrants and the people who work with them. And at some point, one of them told me this very interesting thing, and they told me that when they migrated and when they tried to settle in Italy, they felt themselves in sort of a bubble, in a cultural bubble and linguistic bubble, because they didn't know the language, they didn't know the the sort of the behavioral norms of society, and sometimes their behavior, friendly behavior towards other people, was interpreted in the opposite way. And I decided to see how I could represent this feeling of being in a bubble, but through photography, and in a way that could touch many people, could touch different people who even never had the experience of migration. And at this point, I thought of the metaphor of the stars and interstellar travel. So the project stands on these 2 feet. One is the African culture, so you could see it in colors, you could see it in clothing, you could see it in the elements, in the recurring elements of the project. But the other part is this feeling, is this, again, this sort of dream about the stars guiding your way through, because, again, a lot of traveling is happening at night. And here comes the title, Nowhere Near, which in English is actually expresses this state, which is a non-state, fill-in that is a non-fill-in, and place that is a non-place, which is very important in the understanding of this feeling. It's a very controversial combination of different feelings being a migrant. So I thought that that metaphor could combine all of them. And one of the inspirations was also the dreams of these people, because I asked them about their recurrent dreams, if they had any strange dreams that came at night. Because again, while talking to them, I tried not to speak straightforwardly about the experience of crossing, but mostly again about speaking about their dreams or their home country. So you could see a lot of landscapes were inspired by the visions of the dreams of these people, and also by their home country. So that by the landscapes that might have been found in their home country. And what else can I say? A lot of pictures are symbols. So again, and I was trying to bring this symbology of African culture, a tradition, and this feeling of being a migrant. So this connection to the stars, and again, migration seen as a primordial feeling and as a primordial state of human beings, because again, it's something that's been forgotten very often. But the human beings, they always travel, they always migrate, and that's how the cultures evolved, and that's a natural state of a human being. And so that's something that, again, through this connection to the stars and to this African traditions, which are very much connected to earth and natural elements, I tried to represent in the project. And for example, you could see that that picture of a desert rose, that's sort of a perfect symbol of combining these two traditions, because this is a crystal that can be found in the arid conditions, where sometimes migrants come from, like in countries like Libya. But then it also resembles this sort of an interstellar body, so a crystal. And then the stories of different people, I tried to approach different people with different stories, different backgrounds, different countries. So they're not only the migrants who came by sea, but also the migrants who came for economical reasons. And again, the colors, for example, the choice of colors, there's a lot of red, because in African traditions, red is considered both as a color that stands for danger and death and blood, but also for courage. And again, that's something that I wanted to manifest in the project, that these people have a lot of courage and a lot of power and a lot of force to undertake the journey that is, again, perilous, full of uncertainties, full of being nowhere. And I think it's great to manifest the culture and the courage of those people. Thank you.
And then last fall, I met Brigitte, Kössner-Skoff, and Gerhard. And they are dedicated photographers. They are amateur photographers, lovers of photography. I coined this because they have another profession, but they do not hesitate to go to the outmost corners of the world to share things with us. And they told, at an event where we met, they told me about it, and I said, wow, this would be great to have. Our French partners would have a look if they see this, when they told me about living bridges. Living bridges. What do you expect living bridges? Made out of trees, of course. And well, having said enough, I will ask Brigitte and Gerhard to share with us what they experienced over there. And there's not just trees, there's so much more. It's a society which is very, very special under very extreme conditions. Brigitte.
Lois, thank you. When we speak both, I think it's a little bit too long. Therefore, thanks a lot for joining us here. And it was a wonderful time we had in Northeast India, and it was incredible. And you know, when you are in foreign countries, you see pictures, you can't imagine that. And we want to try to share these pictures. And we want to explain a little bit about that.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to follow the 3 rules of a speaker. I will speak loud so that you can hear me. I will stand that you can see me. And I will keep short that you laugh us afterwards. In spite of this, we are asking for 3 minutes of your attention. We want to hijack you into a sustainable world. If you read newspapers, if you hear news, you learn that we are on the way to destroy our world. We are not destroying our world, we are destroying our living environment. The world we are living and which we need to live there. And we have explored a place, a sustainable place, where tribes are living there. They are said to be primitive, but we can learn very, very much from them. They are not primitive. They learned to live in a sustainable world and to live and to maintain their living environment. What you can see here, we took pictures in the very far east, northeast of India. It's the province of Meghalaya. They are deep in the mountains, in the jungle. The people of the Khasi people are living there. This is a strange society, an uncommon society for us. It's a so-called matrilinear organization where everything is orientated to the eldest women of the clan. And she is responsible for the health and the welfare of her clan. If you marry there, the man has to go to the women. He is taking her name. She, the youngest daughter of them, last not least, is taking over the rule of the clan leader if the clan leader is dying. A very precise defined organization with very precise rules, with very smooth living there, with very friendly and a lot of humanitarian there. So you feel well there. If you're there, you just feel well with these people. They are happy. You don't see quarreling them. You see a smiling face. Everything is fine. They only have one major burden. The place they are living is first mountainous, and second, it's the wettest place on earth. It's raining there 13 meters per year. Everything you build in there, everything which is concrete, is swapped away with the next monsoon, which is coming somewhere mid of April and lasting until end of October. What they have done to bridge the mountains, in this rainy season, you can't pass by through the forests. It's impossible to walk there, and they have built living bridges. They are planting on the one side a ficus tree, they are planting on the other side a ficus tree, and then the Luftwurzeln, they are knotting together and let them grow. This is not done in 1 year, this is not done in 5 years and not in 10 years. It's sustainable. After 30 or 40 years, first time you can walk over this. After 100 years, you have a very rigid bridge there. So you see this first bridge, this was planted 1840. So now it's the main communication or main pathway between the different villages. If you see the last this one, they are bridging a 50-meter span over with 30-meter height. Don't believe it's dangerous to go there. They are rigid, they are stable. We've seen a lot of man-made hanging bridges where you're definitely afraid to cross over. We just received yesterday back from Sulawesi rainforest, and we had to cross there some places where it was not funny. Everything was shaking, it was man-made. This is not man-made, it's rigid, it's stable, and it's sustainable. They learned to live in a sustainable world. And if we can learn from them to keep our environment also sustainable, we would be in a better world. And thank you for joining us in seeing these beautiful pictures, seeing the beautiful world in which we live, and which definitely is worth to keep it for all time for the mankind. Thank you very much.
So, now we come back to Europe. We go to the Rathausgasse on the other side of the market and head for one of the cities which are, together with Baden, forming a World Heritage place, a World Heritage cultural place called the Great Spa Towns of Europe.
My name is Stukhard, and we are standing in front of one picture that I took in Vichy. But I would like to start my speech and go back some years. Because 30 years ago, I was browsing through a Geo magazine, and I was captivated by a picture. It was an indigenous man holding a dog in his hand, climbing up vertical stairs that were cut into a tree trunk to his tree house. This was a story photographed by George Steinmetz about the Korowai people in the Irian Giant jungle. And I must say, I've always been more a cat person than a dog person. But this picture with of the man with the dog touched me deeply at the time. And this picture changed my life because it was the reason why I became a photographer. Now, 30 years later, I'm standing here in the cycle of all these wonderful photographers. And amongst them is also George Steinmetz, which I haven't met until now. And at the La Gacilly-Baden Photo Festival, with a small photographic contribution that I did, which is not as exotic as the jungle of Irian, but it was a very interesting and exciting journey in the past and back to the present, to the journey to the city of Vichy. Commissioned by festival director Lois Lammerhuber in the city of Baden, I traveled to Vichy May this year with the assignment to photograph this World Heritage Site. Vichy, sorry, I mixed up my... Vichy is called the queen of all spa towns, and it's part of the UNESCO World Heritage. The great spa towns of Europe, which also include Baden and 9 other cities. Commissioned by the festival director Lois Lammerhuber in the city of Baden, I was sent to Vichy to take pictures of this World Heritage site. And what I found there was a queen that it seemed to me had been kissed awake from a deep sleep, and whose beauty is mostly visible at first glance, but sometimes at second glance. And this is what I thought was so interesting and made the charm of this city. The glamour of this historic European spa phenomenon can be perceived in a lot of historic and architectural witnesses that we will see later on. There is, for instance, this Art Nouveau opera house of Vichy, which is interior is entirely covered in gold and in yellow, and the drinking halls that radiate a peace to me, which reminded me of sacred buildings. And there's, for instance, also this Villa Marguerite, which we will see also, renovated with a lot of love by a musician couple who regularly transform their living room into a concert hall and make it open to the public. All these historic sites and the architectural witnesses allow us to participate in a time that has long passed since. And at the same time, I had the feeling they remain alive through the people who live in, with, and around them. I would like to thank Lois Lammerhuber and the city of Baden for entrusting me with the realization of this exhibition on Vichy. And I want also to thank Georg Steinetz and this indigenous man with his dog for inspiring me to choose the wonderful path of photography 30 years ago. Thank you.
And then we come to an Austrian icon, a living icon, Horst Stasny, 81 years old, one of the photographers I know forever. First, of course, with his images, I thought, damn it, this is really good. I would like to become one like him. And later, I had the joy and the honor to get to know him and to become friends with him. And last year, when we had a focus on lady photographers, women photographers from Austria, I had to make a choice because I know that Horst turned 80. So, of course, then we spoke with him together, and we decided we give the ladies their right for the first appearance. And he said, "It's okay. I'm next year." And we're heading to a place called Sparkassengang because it belongs to the bank of the city, the Sparkasse. And it's a very intimate spot, very sheltered, almost like a gallery, a walk-through gallery. People like to walk through there, and of course they start to ask questions, because one image is called Grauwert, the very first one. What is Grauwert in English? Shades of gray, Grauwert. So, and they asked me by passing by, what does that mean? What did he have in mind? Why is he photographing this? What sense does this make? And I said, I have to wait until he's here, and I will ask him, what means Grauwert, dear Horst? What means Grauwert in the sense of the picture?
front to Lois and his team and all the people who were involved in this really huge project. It's a little complicated for me because actually I share this exposition as the oldest still alive here as a photographer, as Austrian, and there's a second complication. Every colleague who showed us the exposition and their photos had a story. And now it's always the same. A photographer usually is very, very curious and looks mostly forward. But as over 80 years, you have a lot to look back as well. And so it was really difficult to find out what to show, because I have so many stories, and the complication is not just one, there are 40 stories. But we don't have the time, of course, to talk about all the stories. How did I come to photography? That's easy. My parents had been already photographers, but in a little village, and it was the normal portrait photographer. And I expected in photography one thing. I want to do many, many different subjects and so on. And this was the reason I was educated to advertising photography. Because advertising photography is not only a local thing, it is spread over the whole world. The influence goes over the world, and you can influence by photography as well your ideas and your thinking about. And as well, I never could have stand it to do every day the same things. And advertising photographer is a challenge. Every day a new challenge, every job a new challenge. You have to do with people. This is one of my favorite things. You have to do with products. You have to understand techniques. You have to understand when a person comes to you, what the person wants to be presented and how to present it, the expression of a person and so on. And the interesting thing is, it's not only local. And I was really across all the areas of the world. And if you look at people, the people are everywhere the same. Most of the people, if you come closer to them, they have a heart. And they are eager to express their heart and to talk about their heart. And this makes it easy to come closer, and it makes it easy for the photographer to take photos, which are interesting. But here's a whole thing, of course. This is a simple farmer from Austria, from the northern side of Austria. Here down, there is Ilse Lauder, when she was 90, in New York. And I was represented in Los Angeles over 20 years, as well in Switzerland, and especially over Los Angeles. It was a crossworld in the world. And so I came to very, very different people, to different areas, and so on. It was a continually, my God, my English is today very bad, sorry. It's the heat. No. All I want to say, please enjoy. Every photo has its own story, and so they are very, very different. The subjects are going really astray, all those things. But to end up the whole thing, I just want to express myself. I love photography, and everyone who asks me why, I couldn't tell him. It's just a love to it. And if you love something really intensely, it must be a fortune, and it must be leading to a good result. Love photography. That's all. Thank you.
So welcome to the world of Rudolf Koppitz. We called this exhibition Photogenius. And that's a pretty That's a term you do not set easily. You could be criticized very, very easily when you do use a term like that. He kind of developed a photographic language which lasts till today. He was a studio photographer in Vienna. Unfortunately, he didn't live very long. It's only 56 years was his lifespan. And in the beginning, he was a ordinary studio photographer, made his living with it. And on the weekends and in summer, he retreated to the countryside and started to photograph people in their dresses, in their costumes. And this is what you see on this side. So at that time, it was very romantic to be out in the countryside and picture this and take it home. It was exotic poor. You hadn't to go to Vanuatu. Just went to Tyrol, Styria, Lower Austria, just around the corner. And at these early days, you also can see in his photography that there is an incredible balance, an incredible energy to it, an incredible will to express simple situations on an almost eternal level. So they last. When you look at these pictures, they will last, they will stand the test of time, not only the time which passed since they have been taken, but also the time which will come. And of course, then it takes a certain turn in your career to become more attention. Because this type of photography, of course, is looked at, but when the people are less addressed, we look even more. And so when he started to do nude photography in the early 1920s, these pictures with the same aesthetics became almost jump-started famous. The most famous is the movement study of 1925, which others at the time made it worldwide. It went from exhibition to exhibition to exhibition. When you see the original or some of the originals, there are stamps on it of all kind of fairs, of all kind of galleries, of all kind of museums. And I was thinking to myself, what is the value of this very special photograph? Why does it take so much attention? Of course, it's dancers from the Vienna Opera, fine. But what I, for myself, found out, it's incredibly full of aesthetic without exposing nudity, without exposing the female body. For me, it feels not that there's any exploitation. It's just sheer beauty. It captures you. You look at it and you feel that it's right. The proportion, how the black is set against the body color, about how the hair, how the three ones in the background do not look to the body or have their eyes closed. So it's so much going on and not going on at the same time. It's simple. It's very, when you see that, you can do it right away. If you have the idea, just do it. Find three women and do it. But I wonder if you would come home with this. And the reason why he did come home with this is that he had it in it. It was in him. He could see this way. This is what great photography makes makes great photography, because it rests not in the eyes, in the beholder of the eye, but it rests in the personality. Look to his self-portrait, the same story. It's such a simple photograph next to the panel where his biography is laid out. It's simple, just sitting next to a trunk. Nothing happens. And if you go and look to each of them, the same story arises. And fact is that this kind of aesthetics lives up today. It's basically what we call the aesthetic of Hollywood. This is how film are shot. This is the understanding of almost everyone in the world about aesthetics. It works. When you get this kind of pictures, you find out that they are beautiful, that they work on you. Like when you see a movie which is famed for being impressive, it's mostly coined, it's well photographed. And this is exactly what happens with Rudolf Koppitz's work. And of course, you might be reminded to the work of an infamous photographer, if you will. Infamous because she worked for the wrong person. This Leni Riefenstahl. If she would have served for the American president, she would be superstar. But this is exactly the aesthetics, whatever reason was behind, works. This is the aesthetic of which how can I say it best? Which is ready in us to be kissed awake. When we look at these images, they meet us. They meet our imagination. What's a good image? I'm many times asked, what's a good image? What's a good image? Ask yourself. I mean, most of you are photographers. It's so hard to answer. But sometimes when you see one like this, you say, this is a good image. And the moment when you try to describe it, to analyze, it does not help. It doesn't make it better or lesser or anything. It's just there. It is. It stands. And I know that Leni Riefenstahl did resort to this aesthetic as well. But look at the age when he died. So there was no connection at all. So Rudolf Koppitz was not involved in this kind of thinking, but he created this type of aesthetics which accompanies us probably forever, because this is the aesthetics what is iconic, which is probably in our DNA. This is what not many photographers can resort to make it come alive. And this is what I consider so important in the work of Rudolf Koppitz. And this is also the first time that we dedicated the whole spot to one photographer alone. And I really believe it's worth looking at it. And you can walk from picture to picture to picture and you just feel good. Just feel good. I wouldn't know what to say more about him, because it's just embracing me. This kind of photography picks me up. It embraces me, it holds me. It tells me that it's a good choice to have become a photographer and to live photography. This is what it is about. This is great photography. Rudolf Koppitz. Thank you. The next stop is, as I mentioned before, dedicated to schools. The project is, the concept of the project is to involve children at the age of, up to the age of 14, to show us their vision of the world by giving them a really hard nut to crack of a theme. Maybe you think a few minutes until we are there. This one is about openings. Openings. Of course, you can think about your camera, which has an opening where light goes through and meets the film or meets the chip. But there's so much more to openings. And what is behind? I will ask again Florence Drouhet and Camille Froger. She is in La Gacilly responsible for this project. And the two ladies will share with us what they know about openings. And by the way, if you look to the power of the imagery, to the love and the care and the passion of these young people in this photography, it's just as good as it gets. So I think here we have a little stage. It goes a little bit up. And which side is the... Yeah, I have to turn around here. So ladies, Camille Froger, Florence Drouhet, and fantastic young kids doing photography. Camille? Florence?
So maybe I wait a few minutes. Maybe I can also look at Christian Schörg, because I saw come with us, because I saw that you are one of the teacher. Yeah, but teaching in the school. Yes. I mean, you are one of the you are a photographer, but in this project you were one of the teacher. So this is a project that schools work during few months about the theme. And so this is college class. So this is around 14, in between, 14, 15. And 12 maybe, 12 to 15. And then 16 class from France in Morbihan and 16 class from Niederösterreich work on the same theme and are exhibited together. So the theme is of this year was openings, and so Eröffnungen, Ouverture. And then they are exhibited together, so you can see each school has a panels, and then you can see. Of course, they work not only on the shootings, what they shoot, how they treat the theme, but also how they compose the panels with a title and everything, the caption maybe, the description of their work. So this is and it exists here in Baden for the first edition that the 2 and 12 years in La Gacilly. And so maybe a few words from La Gacilly, and then if you want to, or if you have any question for the journalist after during the dinner, to Christian is one of the teachers, so he can share his experience as a teacher.
Okay, thank you. Yes, it's an educational program which is very important for the festival in La Gacilly and here in Baden, because it allows pupils to discover the photography with some professional photographer. It's a work which is all the academic years, and it starts with with the history of photography, the discovery of the tools to take a good picture, and with the theme is announced as openings. It's allowed pupils to think and create around the various themes. And maybe I will let you talk about the practice in the class.
Yes, I love to work with young people. It's great. It's great to give my know-how to young people, and I give it in my hand and say, come on, we take photographs, we take nice photograph, we talk about the openings, and 1 hour later we go in the area and take pictures, and the teacher, not the photographs, the teacher look at the photos with the young people, with the schülers, and said, this picture we want for the exhibition. It's so wonderful to see young people to say, hey, wow, that's photography, and not iPhone photography, sondern with professional cameras. And thank you to Leica. He give me cameras, and I can go with Leicas, with the people, with the young people. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And this is very strong project for us, because this is really also a European statement that the young people from the same age, from here in Niederösterreich and here in Morbihan, work on the same theme and are together exhibited. So, well.
Thank you so much. I'm walking deeply in guilt because I did think Christian to another place because the next exhibition is his, so I was already ahead, you know. But again, also from my side, thank you to Leica because they hand over, I think, 100,000 euro of cameras to the children there, and they start enthusiastically working on them. They probably have the first time a camera in their hand, but they fall in love right away. And as you can see, they are really creative. By the way, this one was created by artificial intelligence, and they describe it. And it's one more thing to know. It's not only to photograph about openings, they need to explain why they made it this way. So let's go to the grown-ups.
He has several hats, you know, as a teacher, as a photographer.
Okay, start now. Dear Lois, dear La Gacilly Festival team, it is a great honor and pleasure for me to be able to actively support the festival as a professional photographer from Baden and as the head of the Lower Austrian Professional Photography Guild. Okay. Dear audience, Lower Austrian professional photographers, currently 1,600 people, work primarily as portrait, wedding or advertising photographers. So they work in a completely different direction than the reportage and documentary photography excited at the festival. Nevertheless, their work is great, thrilling, beautiful too. Baden was included in the World Cultural Heritage List in 2021 as one of the 11 great sparse towns. So festival director Lois Lammerhuber suggested to me that the topic of the World Heritage in Lower Austria should be selected for the Lower Austrian photographers competition. I accept this suggestion with enthusiasm in order to present our federal state with all its beautiful, with extraordinary photographs. These are the Wachau, the Semmering Railway, the Dürnstein-Lassingtal Wilderness Area, the Donau Limes, and Baden, where we are now. For the festival, the curators have chosen and edited the work of following photographers: Mir Bodenstein, Martin Haider, Christian Handel, Marius Höfinger, Markus Hofstetter, Attila Mollner, Claudia Ratzinger, Martin Skopal, Michaela Wondruska, Nimo Zimmerhackel, and myself, Christian Schörg.
Pascal, I do not need to introduce to you. Pascal is Pascal. And not only at home in France, everywhere. Pascal is a superstar in photography. So come in. Well, I understand that you're last because the food is exactly on the other side of the street. So, fact is that Pascal and I know each other since a long time. A very long time. When you hear the number, you always think, my God, you're so old. I think we met first in 1984. So I guess some of the younger photographers, they have not been a concept. There was nothing yet. So at that time, we photographed already and made a little bit of a living. And of course, in the meantime, became truly famous. And we did a few books together, most important about Africa, and only a little footnote because we almost had our very first fight in our life about the design of the book. I wanted to have a kind of a flow of the images, very large ones, a little smaller, not small, just a little smaller, some modulation. Pascal looked at it and said, I don't like it. I said, what don't you like? So, no. It qualifies images as bigger is better, smaller is lesser good. And I think in this book are only my best. So all of them deserve the same treatment. So what happened next? I said, okay, do it. You will see the press will not like it at all. Everything the same, and it was a thick book. So of course Pascal did make the draft. And it took him a day if the margin for the small caption is 12 or 13 or 12 and a half or 14 or 11 and a half millimeters. So at the end it was fixed and I agreed to everything because I love him. So the book was printed and guess what? The first magazine discussing the book said the photography is great, Pascal is great, but the best is the layout. Every picture the same. What a joy. Oh, okay. Having said enough, this is Pascal Met, and he almost has every year an exhibition here. No. For sure next year again, a big one. Mega cities. A stunning exhibition, by the way. In 4 months, I don't know where to put. You're challenging me again and again. But now we're talking about last year. He was artist in residence together with Katharina Victoria Haderer. She wrote text, and if you understand German and have a look to them, you wonder. She's a fiction author, and she wrote incredible stories. Really incredible stories. A second narrative, and it teaches you also about how far you can interpret a photograph. Ladies and gentlemen, Monsieur Pascal Met.
For me, it was a more easy exhibition to do because I have just to shoot the beautiful picture of my colleague. It was a lazy one, but I like it, and this gives me a good chance to see in deep the work of all these photographers. And of course, it's a pleasure to be here, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful. La Gacilly-Baden. This is really beautiful. And I can see Mr. August behind. He will leave all the photographer alone, Lois alone, Jacques alone, Florence alone. He will disappear. Why, Mr. August? Stay with us. We need you. Thank you for all you have done from 20 years. Really. All this cannot happen without you. I have not too much to say. Thank you, Lois. Thank you, all the team, Sylvia, Joanna, Brigitte, and where is Mr. Martin, who are very, very big worker. They are incredible. And have a good evening. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Pascal. So we are almost halfway. Just across the street, you will find food, water, and whatever they prepared. From Manfred Schneider, who is the head here. He runs the place, and he's the inventor of the festival tart. There's really one, believe me. And it's not only eat, forget about Sachertorte, it's a lot better. But of course, it doesn't last as long because you eat it. Sachertorte you keep for years because it's made to be kept. Anyway, enjoy. Bon appétit.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you, Baden, and thank you, Lois, and amazing festival to having me here. And it's actually, I'm in the time that it's quite important for me to not just stay as an artist in my capacity, but also as a person to just talk about the situation of women inside Afghanistan right now. That it's quite different with the photos that you are seeing here. by the way, I was born in Iran as an Afghan woman refugee, as my grandparents migrated during Soviet war, and I was the third generation who grew up and who was born there. And I decided to go back to Afghanistan in 2013 when I was just a student, and after that, since 2015 to 2021, I was in Afghanistan, inside Kabul, and I started this photo project because I always the first women who I met in my life for the first time as an Afghan woman was my mother and my sisters, that I also dedicated my photo book to my mother and to my sisters and to all my mothers and sisters in Afghanistan. But the images that have been always covered about the women of Afghanistan, even when you search about it, it's always this victimization, the burqa, the Taliban, and very, very cliche side of it that I don't want to ignore it. But the thing is that amid all these miseries and in the middle of this conflict, there is also a little beauty and hope that I really wanted to cover that. Like the story of the textile, the story of fabric, the story of a hat, the story of these eyes, even the diversity in Afghanistan, that we have many different ethnicities that it has never been covered and never talked about it. So that was why I decided to cover these pictures. And I have to mention that it was also not easy for me to go through the women life inside Afghanistan, the typical Afghan women. And that's why I went through the life of women artists, musicians, actresses who were completely familiar with the camera and let me to publish their photos. But even although I did all this everything, but the thing is that every time I got a call from a brother, from a husband, from a I don't know, father, brother, whatever, that delete the picture, remove it from your website, how dare you to share the picture of my wife, all these things that is not completely normal from the people of a war zone. But I went through this. I mean, I was a Tehran-born woman, very far from Afghanistan, but I went through all these streets, talking to these women, and captured this little beauty and resilience and hope that I could cover. But the thing is that I have been forced to leave Afghanistan just 5 days after fall of Kabul, which is very sad because now it's August and all those traumas and sadness is coming back. But 2 years ago, this time I was in Kabul in my home in Afghanistan, but I didn't know that how my destination is gonna change. And I left Kabul 3 days after fall of Kabul. And in the military side of the airport, I end up to France. And thanks to France to save me and my voice and everything. But it's so sad because all these women left Afghanistan. And even before that, I removed their pictures from website, from everything. And after I make sure that everyone left, I had the permission to share their pictures. But the thing is that we all end up in different countries as another become refugees and the story of migration and everything. But when I see the beauty, the color, everything, that how much I tried, and not me, but all women in these 20 years of Republic, to have a voice, and the international community as well, to make something for women inside Afghanistan. And how everything becomes zero, and now even little girls cannot go back to school. Taliban just closed the beauty salons, everything. I mean, there is no life for women inside Afghanistan right now. Even I heard that they stopped them to go to park, to get out of home when they do have no work. And it's happening in front of the eyes of the world, and nobody is doing something. And of course, I mean, I had many panels and many conferences, and international community really tried to do something with Taliban, but it's impossible. And it's so sad for me that standing in front of these pictures and looking to the eyes of these women and talking in front of you about the beauty, hope, and resilience of these women, which doesn't exist right now. I mean, not the resilience, not the resistance, but this beauty, these colors that it was in Afghanistan history, but it doesn't exist now. So yeah, I mean, it's so sad, but I hope at least it changed a little bit the dark image of women of Afghanistan that media always covered. And you see this resistance and hope inside them. And as I always said, may all the women of Afghanistan and women of the world stand tall. Merci. Thank you so much.
Miryam Firuzi. It's a lovely personality. I really like her a lot. And I know her a few years now. And she's frustrating me at the same time a lot. She's the one person I know in person which is so overly talented that I wonder if there's a just God. Why can she have so many talents and I do not even have hair? Hair! No hair. I mean, how fair is that?
Thank you.
But she studied calligraphy. She became an architect. No? No, you tell me yourself. What all did you study? Come closer.
I studied math and physics, and after that at software engineering, and after that I changed my university. I went to Art University of Tehran and I studied cinema, MBA, film script writing, and after that film study for master and filmmaking.
And there was no word about photography. Did you get it? And she's a photographer now. By the way, tomorrow, 10:30 in the morning, there's a matinee at the Cinema Paradiso where we will watch one of her movie fragments and have a discussion on stage. So, Miryam, I'm so happy to be here, to have you here, and please tell us about your beautiful work.
Hello. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I have to thank you, Luis, thank you, and Sylvia, and all of the people, all of the team members of Global Peace Photo Award. In 2018, it was the first time that, I was being introduced by, Luis Global Peace Photo Award in out of my country, and my professional work start after that. It was a turning point of my work because after that I could find the gallery in Tehran, and step by step I become a little bit known as a photographer. So thank you very much because of all of these things. Here I had 3 series, and as you know, Reading for Tehran Streets is my first series. The initial idea came from to me when I was a student and when I was doing on my master in cinema. We had to work in a project that was about a selfie, and in that time I focused on myself, to know myself, and after that started this project. In that time I felt loneliness. Most of the time I stayed at home and read and wrote stories and books. And whenever I have to go out, I couldn't tolerate the atmosphere of Tehran. Tehran with its harassment, its crowdedness, its pollutions, and maybe you know the dominant color of Tehran is gray. And so gradually I found out, okay, when I was out, I couldn't pay attention anything, and I was wandering between my dreams. And by focusing on these ideas, 1 year after I started this project, I expand my idea. So this project is about the combination of my dreams, my fantasy, and the realistic, Tehran. And in that time, I was so young, I thought we could change the world by cultural work. And, it was for me a very silent protesting. And now that when I look at these photos, I can see a girl with a book in the middle of streets and, try to share her imagination with urban passengers in the cities. I'll always forget she is me. for me, she is a lot of people in Iran who try to make peace with their self-sacrifice, with their efforts, their patience. And about the other series, Concealment, that was out of his in front. 1 year ago, 1 year ago, when I talked about the Concealment series in Legacy Festival, I never thought. Some months later, the world was shocked by the courage of female Iranian females. Let me talk about hijab a little bit. In the age of 6, girls in Iran have to keep hijab in the school, for going to a school, 6 or 5, I think 5. But out of school, they are free, or it's better to say, it depends on their family. But the age of 9, they have to keep hijab in front of the men, except their brother, their father, their sisters, anywhere, in any situations. When I was 9, after a very beautiful beautiful ceremonies, that much as beautiful as a wedding party for a little child, I was so excited, and I wanted to keep chador. My mother opposed me, but my father encouraged me and said he's proud of me. So I continued for 3 years. And after 3 years, I was completely regretful because chador was awful and I couldn't be active as much as a child need. So I started to fight my father for 6 years. And after 6 years, I succeed. And little by little, gradually, I could left the hijab. But, in a society, we have to keep hijab. And when I started this, I want to talk about, by this series, I want to talk about my body is my nature. And nobody can limit me and cover me because of my nature. And, this series is very, I want to talk in a parodic way to say if I have to cover myself, it's not just about 40 years, 100 years, it's about the history. If I have to cover myself, I wish the nature have done it before, from the eternity. So I worked on 3 series about compulsory hijab, because I needed to express myself, to talk about my suffering that I had, especially in my childhood, because this suffering weighed on my heart. And after that, I could make peace with my family, with myself. I could forgive myself and my family. And the last one is about, this series that you see, Scattered Memories of a Distorted Future. As a child, I always think artists can change the world by their artwork. But as a child, but as an adult, I see every day the world become worse and worse. My country become worse and worse, and I always endured. But after a very tragic happening that happened in my country, maybe the Ukrainian airport was exploded by government, and it was a big catastrophe for all of the Iranians. And after that, I lost my belief in art. I always ask myself, what is my role as an artist in this kinds of society? And I couldn't find the answer. It was a turning point for Iranians because Iranians haven't come back the time before. They weren't the people that was before that catastrophe. And so I started this project because of, these things. I invited some female painters to destroyed, abandoned places, and I asked them to paint on the wall whatever they want. And I took photos of them. It is the most metaphorical series that I have done. And I wanted to ask, in this situation, with a lot of conflicts, how it can be effective, how the art can be effect on the world. And nowadays for me, the artists are some people who stand in front of a big mountains with a small hammer, yes, and hit at it every day. We know it's maybe one day he succeed and this mountain collapse. I hope one day, but it's a difficult. Yeah, it's finished.
Finished.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Very pleased. Luis.
Véronique de Vigerie is a conflict photographer. You might say she does not look like conflict, but she goes there, and sometimes, in particular, when you look, let's say, in comparison to, well, who is the largest photographer here? Here, what we have here, it's Brent Sturton, probably by size, then you would say, okay, he's made for conflict. But you are petit, would the French say petit? Is this a good term, or a precious woman? A precious woman, and if we see your images, there's nothing precious. They are precious as photographs, but the situations are really hard to get there, really hard to live with them. And in your history, in your biography, I read that you did live in Afghanistan for quite some years, and since then you're commuting in and out and telling the story and continue to tell the story. All this park is dedicated to Afghanistan. Makil Kosher and Shamarai are not here, and Paul Almasi is dead, but of course we have someone talking about his work. But Véronique is, so to speak, in the center of it all. You know maybe best what it means to be in this country and work in this country as a photographer. So welcome, Véronique de Vigerie.
Thank you everybody. Thank you Lois. Okay, thank you Sylvia. Thank you La Gacilly. I've been. The first time I went to Afghanistan was 20 years ago, and yes, I lived there for 4 years. And this is a country which is very strong in my heart, because that's where I was born as a photographer, if I can say, there. And all these pictures are from Afghanistan, but not representing conflict, but kind of peaceful moment, because in conflict zone, often you see some very lively, hopeful, sometimes just beautiful things happening, and you take the picture, but they never get published because it's not why you went there, and you have so little space to publish the pictures, that these pictures you just get them on your computer and leave them. And when I was thinking with Cyril about something, we just decided to choose this moment, which are never published, but which are a reality of conflict countries also. Because in conflict, not everything is black, not everything is awful, not everything is heinous. Sometimes conflict could even be a kind of a humanity revelator, like people, you can see people doing very beautiful things, a lot of solidarity, complicities, which can, I think, maybe only happen in conflict periods, because you are out of your comfort zone maybe, and that push you to be, I don't know how you say, the best of what you can be, even to push the limit of what you are. And so all these pictures are yeah, this kind of, we call it instant suspendu. I don't know how you say that in English, but a little bubbles, timeless moments. And some of the pictures are like this one after the fall of Afghanistan into the Taliban hands. So, you know, this woman, well, this was the first woman protest after the Taliban took the power, and they were not so many, sadly, maybe 50 of them, and not protected by any men, but they still went there, and, you know, without any weapons, obviously, just with their mouths and their hands against really armed Taliban, very brave, very courageous. And with everything happening there, I think we can only be proud of this woman who stayed there and who are the only resistance against Taliban government nowadays. Thank you.
And the next one is just behind us. We go to Paul Almasi. Ulrike Hausen is here, and she will talk to us. But we move over there, of course, to see it better. And then we speak about Vakil Kosha and Shamarai and their absence because of death, and also their absence because of stupidity in the Austrian administration at the embassy in Islamabad.
Hello. So this is the exhibition of the Hungarian-born photographer Paul Almasi, who got the French nationality afterwards. So we say Paul Almasi. And AKG Images bought his black and white archives. So Paul Almasi was born in 1906, and he died in 2003. And he traveled all over the world, in all countries except Mongolia, as he said himself. So when in 2021 the Taliban took over the control of Afghanistan again, we remembered his photos, the photos of Paul Almasi, which were taken in the 1960s and 70s. And at that time, Paul Almasi made many photos for the UNESCO, and he focused on the modernization of the country at that time, because it was a kingdom at that time, and the king, Zahir Shah, was an enlightened king, and he wanted to bring his country to the modern era. So he encouraged alphabetization, modernization of healthcare and education. So here we have a whole series of photos, and you have to know that Paul Almasi was a very discreet photographer. One shot is not so important as the whole thing. So they are black and white photography, and there are different subjects, and I just wanted to show you 2 or 3 of them. And this is perhaps this behind me, this is a contribution to Austria, because in the 60s, the countries all over the world, the United States, Soviet Union, of course, but Austria and all European countries sponsorized modernization in Afghanistan. And Vienna, the Viennese Music Academy, founded a music school in Kabul. And you see here a young woman studying the violin. And the teacher was called Miss Wendlitzka. So by surprise, perhaps there are any relatives of Mrs. Wendlitzka here. And so you see, and here on the left side, you see young students, women and men, the women without any veil, who study spectral analysis. And I just wanted, perhaps we can move a little bit on. Lois, I need your help, please. This is too heavy for me. I wanted to show you two other photos which are related to the work of Véronique and Wakil. We have to move a little bit because in this situation here in the park, it's really great. So you can walk around and see links between different photos. So here we are in Kabul at a school, and the girls have about, I don't know, 13, 14, 15 years, and you see them running in the schoolyard at the sports lesson. And right over there, you can see it from here, but there's a little girl in an Afghan village who has taken off her burqa just to take a deep breath, and behind their men, there are Taliban coming, and another little girl already put back her burqa. And if you see that, this is the 1960s. And Véronique, I don't know when exactly you've taken this photo with a girl with a burqa. So it's a hard contrast. And the last photo I wanted to show you of a great historical interest is that one. So here you have a photo Paul Almasi took about one of the Bamyan Buddhas in 1963, and they are from the 6th or 7th century. And as you surely know, the Taliban destroyed the Bamyan Buddhas in 2001. And I'm quite sure that when Paul Almasi went to Afghanistan, this wasn't his first interest. He wanted to show the pupil, he wanted to show people, he wanted to show women. And he took it as if a photographer went to Paris right now and wouldn't take the Eiffel Tower, or would go to Berlin and wouldn't take the Brandenburger Tor. And so he just took a photo of it. And today we know that these Buddhas don't exist anymore. And we will go to the exhibition of Wakil afterwards. And right there in the perspective, you have a photo of boys playing football before the destroyed Bamyan Buddhas, and there's just a hole in the rock. And I think that it is very impressive to see these photos of the 60s and the 21st century, and we see that it was better before, and we hope that it will be better in the future. Thank you.
So the future of Afghanistan lies in the past, we could say. But the presence of being a photographer in Afghanistan is no picnic either. We invited Wakil Kosha to come, sent all the necessary paperwork to him. He went from Kabul to Islamabad, supplied his paperwork, paid all the fees. We bought a ticket. We sent the confirmation that he is invited. We sent the confirmation that the hotel room is paid for. So he's safe. And of course, there's another paper what you have to sign, that if he should disappear in Austria, that we are responsible and that we pay for all costs caused by him. So, but this was not enough for the Austrian embassy in Islamabad. And I had 3 days ago a really wild conversation with them where I couldn't keep my angriness down and told him that this is really not just at all. He's the head of the Agence France press office there. This is the last press office, the last news agency office open in this area. And I don't know what they are afraid of in this damned country I'm living in. As a matter of fact, it's not a damned country. I like this country, but I'm wondering sometimes what drives them. What drives them? And the guy who I had the possibility to speak to, he was the one who was in contact with him. He interviewed him, of course, in the presence of a second one, to make sure that he did everything right. Of course, we did everything by the textbook. Everything was correct. It pisses me off, really. And I will write a letter to our Minister of Foreign Affairs, and I will really make an official protest as far as I can do that as a citizen. So, fact is, he's not here. He was really very sad, and he sends his very best. And I thought to them, it would have been so interesting to hear him speak about it is today. And this is why this festival is made for. This is why we have these exhibitions, to educate people, to tell them not about the truth. There's no final truth, but there is something what you can get firsthand by witnesses, testimonials. And we trust those. We trust each other because we are photographers. So if a photographer speaks to us photographers, then we know this is the best we can get about reality. So, Florence, having said that, and I'm still angry about the situation, and I really, this is not the end of the story, and I will keep you informed. Florence, please, honor them.
Few words about these two photographers. They are managing the AFP, Agence France Presse bureau in Kabul. So the first one, Shamarai, he born in 1977 and he died in 2018. So Shamarai's story first was, so he was first working as translator and driver for AFP bureau in Kabul. He began in 1996. Then officially he became a photographer in 2001 when the Taliban were ousted from power. Then he made head of the Kabul bureau, of the AFP, I mean, of the Agence France Presse. He died in 2018 in a double suicide bombing that claimed 25 people. He arrived on the scene after of the first explosion along the journalist and was charged by a second suicide bomber. His exhibition here shows a few images of a kind of retrospective during his work during 20 years when he was a photographer, so in Kabul. Then Wakil Koshar, so Lois explained you that he couldn't be with us, but so he took over the head of the AFP agency in Kabul after having worked as a photographer during 9 years. Then he covered the fall of Kabul in August 2 years ago. His photos of the airport and plane with people trying to leave the city went viral, and they were shown. Everywhere. It was shown everywhere, all around the world. Maybe you can recognize and remember this so famous picture. So this picture is exhibited here with other showing more peaceful life in different provinces across the country, not only in Kabul. And so Lois said that, but I have to tell it again, that AFP Bureau is the only foreign agency with offices and a bureau still open in Kabul. AFP still keep the world informed in very dangerous circumstances. Bravo to this journalist. And I'm sorry, because she's she's a little bit far, but maybe she can listen to me. Fatima? So Fatima, you know Fatima, just I don't know, we didn't prepare before, but I just wanted to, you were friend with Wakil, so are you still regularly in touch with him? And okay, so if you have any question about him and about Kabul and everything, during the dinner you can ask to Fatima and you can be his ambassador, and okay?
Yes, I wish Wakil was here because he was really one of the most important photographers post-Taliban, the first wave. And if there is a documentary that from 2 American women directors, frame by frame, if you see, it's about the life of 4 Afghan photographers, Masoud Hossaini, Farzana Wahidi, Wakil Kohsar, and Najibullah Musafir, who just established also like a photography department in Kabul University that I also used to teach as well. So yeah, I wish Wakil was here, but he's not here, unfortunately, because there's no Austrian embassy inside Afghanistan under Taliban regime. And thank you to not recognize them. But yeah, if you want to know about Wakil, Frame by Frame is a very good movie, documentary. Sure. Yeah, of course, but it's important. He's just capturing the very crazy but very important part of the Afghanistan history under Taliban regime for the second time. Yeah.
Thank you, Fatima.
And by the way, if you look to the images of Afghanistan, what a beautiful country it is. In particular, the one just ahead of us, I love a lot. Of course, it's a very special situation, but the atmosphere of it, and also what you can read out of it, the amount of snow, the hardness and harshness of having to live there, and on the other hand, in the eye of the photographer, how beautiful this comes along, and it's just beautiful to look at. Or here, this one, look at the joy in the faces. What a beautiful, fantastic moment in a cinema, a projection. It's so innocent, so lovely, it's just good to look at. It makes you feel good to look at this image. Mrs. Gerhard Dashti, next to my side, was born in 1980, and a year when a world-renowned conflict did break out, Iran-Iraq. And this youth living in this period of time really had its impact on Gerhard's life, and she developed amazing theories which she clothed into storylines, visual storylines, which I count to some of the best I've ever seen. And it's an array of very intelligent, thought-through strategies how to survive in extreme situations. I think the rest you need to tell. Yeah, give a little bit of everything.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining. I know everybody's tired. I'm trying to talk as short as I can. So, different body of work is here from 2008 and recent body of work to 2022. And my work is about the political social issue, but nature has an important role in all of my work, and is much more about the meaning of the belonging in new nature. When we move to the other places, how we understand the nature. This body of work that you are in my bag, the name of the series is a home series, and all of them is abandoned home that the people left for some different social political reason in Iran. And I just stage all of the plant and flower inside to see root of the people inside. We can go. Yeah, we continue because this show is. These two body of work, Today Life and War, this side, and a Stateless other side, is about the conflict in the war zone. It's about my memory and how I grew up, it's what happened for my generation. And because the life is continued, the war is continued too. And how is the feeling between the, two paradoxical life? Today Life and War project in this side is at one of my earliest work, 2008. So Lands project, you can see the two different landscape. As it the body of work I did in 2019, I moved to US and I started to discover myself who I am in the nature. So I took lots of nature photos in United States, east to west. And after that, I went to Iran and print the Iranian, American landscape in Iranian nature and take other photos to make a connection between the two nature and how the two nature understand each other and how is my feeling through the two natures. If I want to say example about that, when I look at the tree in New England that I live right now, the trees look like the tree of my hometown, but my connection and my root is different. And how I respect to the new nature and how I understand the new nature, it was a topic that I really like to work. And also the other body of work is a collaboration with Hamed. And Hamed is not here right now. And it's about, again, Islamic geometric pattern and nature between the two countries, Iran and US. And I just really wanted to change the perspective to understand the nature through the Eastern philosophy. So the photos, it's very abstract, it's not the real photos, but I really wanted to people to look at my photo through my perspective and my culture. We all of them are handmade. Here, just reprint them in a large size, and all of them with, we just take a photos of Iranian and American nature and make a handmade collage. And also, I'm working still, this body of work, and I want to make a big installation next year in Boston with the Islamic geometric pattern in the public art. Thank you.
Sarah Caron. With Sarah, we have a relationship over many years. And it started out in Perpignan, discussing about doing a book together. And there have been many reasons why it didn't happen for a while. But last year, when I was in Perpignan, and when I was in La Gacilly, and saw her work there, I thought, okay, now is the time to do it. And why? Why should we do a book on Pakistan with Sarah Caron? And the reason is because it stands out. It stands out of one point of view from my perspective, that she is a Western photographer, an excellent Western photographer, French photographer, and she lives in a country where she does not belong by birth, but she belongs there by heart. She did marry to a man from Pakistan, and that enables her to have access to this country in an unparalleled way for a Western photographer. And so this makes it unique, makes her work definitely unique and worth putting it into a book. And this book you find in your goodie bag in your hotel room, all of you. And it's a gift from us, from the edition Lammerhuber, to you being here and sharing with us these beautiful moments. Sarah, please tell us your story. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for this great scenography of the exhibition. I have seen the exhibition in La Gacilly, and it was another scenography, and so it's a nice surprise to see it here in that beautiful park. So the choice of the exhibition, the choice of the photo is, it was very difficult to do because it was part of my long time work there. So I started to travel to Pakistan in 2007, so long time passed. And always it was for assignment for magazines, and always about, we can say, news or about some situation little bit tense. And but for the exhibition of La Gacilly and Baden, we wanted to find some images more like a portrait of a country, and not with that tension we can see in a newspaper or magazines, but more like documentary photography to make the portrait of a country from north to south to west and west. And so I don't, maybe if you have some question, because like that is more easy with questions. Somebody want to ask something will be better? No, please, please, go ahead. No, no one? Okay. So in the book there is a captions. So in the book there is a text. I explain Pakistan in 4 pages, 350 years of this area, so complicated. I try to understand since I'm living there, but I'm not living, but I'm spending a lot of time. I try to understand, because this country is like an island, in fact, is surrounded by enemies, like they think. So it's complicated. You have China in the north, you have India, and you have Iran and Afghanistan. So you cannot travel by car, you have to travel by air. So you feel like to be stuck in an island, because with no fly, you don't go out of this country. So only the people with double nationality, Afghan people, can go by road. With India it's complicated, because if you are foreigners, you don't get visa. And with Iran is almost the same kind of problem. And right now Pakistan have a lot of trouble. Violence is coming, because after the fall of Kabul, now there is a lot of trouble coming inside Pakistan, and at the same time Pakistan is a country nobody knows too much about it. So I was thinking journalistically it's very interesting to be there, because it's very interesting to understand, to try to understand, it's complicated, and to transmit to the people. This is my job, in fact. So I try to do that. I do photos. I write text also now. And that's it. You can Google my name and you will see many things. I work for New York Times Magazine and Figaro Magazine, and so you can see stories. But it's impossible to resume all that time in 5 minutes, and so I think everybody is exhausted. So I will let you continue the trip to continue to see the photos of other photographers. And if you have any question, feel free to come to me. And also you have a lot of answers in the book. So have a look in the book. And thank you again to Lois and Sylvia. Thank you again for that amazing book you have done to me. Thank you, Lois. Thank you. Yeah, this is an interesting question. This photo is a bit recent. It was, the day 4 after the fall of Kabul. The Taliban came to the Torkham border. Torkham is the name of the little village in Afghanistan, and is a border with the Khyber Pass, the famous Khyber Pass. I suppose everybody knows about the Khyber Pass. It's a historical place where so many things happen. So I was coming there from Pakistan and was having these children. They are smugglers. They came from the famous children I was telling you. They came from Afghanistan with some items to bring to Pakistan to sell them. They are, and the parents send the children because the children can hide inside the truck. But that day, all the Taliban was in the border, and they doesn't wanted any Afghans go out of Afghanistan without any authorization. So they were stopping that boys and girls. And there is a second photo. The second photo, this guy is looking at me, and this guy, he don't see me, and he takes some plastic things to bite that girl. But this guy make a signal to this guy, showing me. And because I was there with a camera, and he don't bite the girl. And the girl was very brave, because she make to him, hey, what is your problem? Because in that moment, she feels more free to say something. This is interesting because the regards we put and our presence basically is needed, is necessary. If there is no journalist, the people are more and more in danger, in fact. So I was thinking this photo, yes, is an interesting question. Okay.
So we come back after Pakistan. We come back in Iran with a photographer, so couldn't come here today. His name is Ibrahim Norouzi. So Ibrahim Norouzi, maybe you know his name because he's very famous as a photojournalist. So he's born in Iran in 1980. He's very known as photojournalist as well, so here as an artist, photographer. He won several World Press Photo. He worked for Washington Post, New York Times, Time Magazine, etc., and so on. He's also worked on a very artistic way with abstract constructions about nature and as also as a master of colors. Here, two series are shown about climate change. This topic very important. So the first series is called The Narrative of a Dream. Is about the question of water in his country, in Iran. Then 1/3 of Iran is covered by desert, and it's growing and growing, and it's becoming a real problem for the water. So this is the first series. The second series, called On Its Last Legs, it's on the lake Urmia, one of the largest saltwater lake in the world, that could disappear soon because of not enough water and rain. And so that makes that it turns to purple color and even red color due to algae and to bacteria. So this exhibition is presented as well as Miryam Firuzi and others by the Silk Road Gallery in Tehran. I just wanted to say a few words about, just one word about this gallery, very important, Silk Road Gallery for photography in Iran. This is the only gallery dedicated only to photographs in Tehran and to contemporary photographers. And so it's really a great gallery, very well represented each year in Paris Photo, so it's really the top level of the gallerist. And so her owner is Anahita. Miryam can talk about her very best from me than me. And this is someone very important also for the contemporary Iran photographers, and as a female also manager of a gallery, and So I'm just wanted to say a few words about her. Thank you.
Thank you, Florence. Next in line is Madame Benger, and she travels with us very far. It's a trip within Europe, but leads us very far away. How many kilometers is it, Melanie? 13,000 kilometers.
From here, I don't know.
No, from here you don't. Well, from Paris. There's maybe the same distance, but maybe it's a good point to start here at the map.
Yes, let's start with the map. Thank you, Lois. Thank you, everybody, and La Gacilly for having me. I wanted to take you to this, to embark you to this expedition to the southern lands. So that's the Terres Australes in French. And we start with the map because if I were to ask if anybody knows where that is, it would be quite a question. So It's here. So that means south of Africa and a little bit before Antarctica. It was it's a bunch of little islands and archipelagos that were discovered in 1772 by Yves Joseph Kerguelen, and he thought he discovered Antarctica. He arrived, he came back, and he said, "I discovered Antarctica," but no, he didn't. But he discovered Kerguelen. Those little islands and archipelagos are part of France. They are a territoire d'outre-mer, and they are not inhabited by anyone. There are just a few scientists, a few people of the marine, and some others that come there to live a maximum of 12 months in a row. And then they leave because it's a very unwelcoming place, even if it's a very beautiful place, where nature becomes the queen and human is really, really a small part of that universe. And so, yeah, to be quick, because we traveled very far and we today, and we arrived all this way. We traveled with Vincent Joly, a journalist at the Figaro magazine. The project was supported by the Fondation Yves Rocher and the Figaro magazine. And we did an expedition of 7 weeks with the only boat that gets there. There is no other way to go. There is no plane. There is nothing else. And during one of the 4 operations per year that goes there, so the boat comes there and brings everything to survive, and people, scientists that are going to stay there for 3, 6, or 12 months and then come back with the next operation. And we had this amazing access, the first in 10 years, to come and take pictures and discover those islands. And these islands are quite amazing because they are a strong part, they are just a small place. And by themselves, they talk about all environmental history. They have been populated. People have tried to live there, never really managed. They have brought their animals. They have brought their things willingly or not willingly. That kind of modified a bit the environment there. And today, they're also part of a new idea of conservation, and with the French government trying to completely protect nature and think nature as a bubble that you have to protect without anything coming from the outside. That is quite an interesting concept to analyze. That is also something that you can discuss. But they're like a small bubble where some tests are done for conservation, and we got to see if it works or if it doesn't, what really works and what doesn't. So I let you embark in those little islands that very few can visit. There are a lot of pictures here. Maybe we can walk a little bit and then I will be done because it's been a long expedition today. But you can see that those islands are the home of one of the biggest colonies of elephant seals and king penguins. We will pass at Ratmanov in 1 second. That took me 6 weeks to get there, but no, we just take 1 second. And Ratmanov has 200,000 king penguins, which is an enormous, one of the biggest colonies. And we can stop here, Lois? Just a second. One of the most touching places that I discovered in Kerguelen was the glacier Cook that is here. You can see 3 pictures that I took there. This is quite an inaccessible place. It had not been photographed in 10 years. And it's the biggest glacier in France. And no, it's not in the Mont Blanc. It's there in the middle of nowhere. And taking those pictures and getting there with one of the scientists of the Institut Paul-Émile Victor, some measurements were taken and we realized that the glacier had lost 20% of its ice in the past 20 years. And what you can see here is quite evident visually. is the traces of what used to be the glacier, and now it's just dark sand, and the glacier begins very, very much further. So that's one of the things that I discovered, that global warming has really hit this place, even if you can see that the colonies are big and full of animals, and it's quite amazing to see this few presence of humans and a lot of presence of animals. It's also quite striking to see the effects there on a place where no human lives of global warming. There you go. Now we have been warm all day. Maybe we can go ahead and finish. Thank you.
Thank you, Melanie. Next in line is Gabriele Ciccioni. Here's the man. Here is the man. Gabriele, just take the mic. I direct.
First of all, I want to thank you, Lois. It's an honor to be here, and I want to thank the Yves Rocher Foundation that gave me the chance to continue the project and exhibit the project in La Gacilly. So thanks to all of you. It's really a pleasure to be here. We are here in front of my project. This project is my long-term work that I started in 2018. The title of the project is The Wretched and the Heart, based on a book of Frantz Fanon, a French psychiatrist, anthropologist, and philosopher. And this project talks about the environmental impact of Rohingya migration in southern Bangladesh. I mean, usually when we talk about environmental migration, we think about migration as a consequence of climate change. But in this case, I try to reverse the narrative and investigate which are the consequences of a mass migration on the environment. Can you imagine that 1 million people was forced to leave Myanmar to go in the southern Bangladesh and occupy and settled in an already fragile area from an ecosystem point of view, and just 300,000 people of Bangladesh were living in the area, and 1 million then they occupy and they have to settle in the place because of survival, situation. So they create, unfortunately, a lot of issues to the local environment in a different kind of situations. I mean, people need many things in order to survive in the place. So they have deforest the place and cut the trees, and they cut thousands of acres of forest in the area, because they need to use the wood to build shelters and to cook food inside the shelter. And this was, for me, it's very interesting to discover that, for example, the first cause of death among the refugees during the emergency phase of the crisis was acute respiratory infection, the complications of acute respiratory infection, because people used to cook using the firewood collected in the forest, and they breathe the smoke inside these very small and closed shelters, and they get sick. And especially women, they are cooking, children and elderly people that can't move, they died because of that. And they very, very different kind of problem. For example, there was the water degradation in the area, because can you imagine 1 million people, with their needs, they spoiled superficial water in the area. So in the emergency phase of the crisis, every day they were building many wells, and more wells became unusable. So it was very, very difficult situation, as I said, especially in the emergency phase of the crisis. They have a very big problem with local fauna, especially with elephants, because this area was used as migratory paths for Asian elephants. and in like maybe 1 week, the forest was full of shelters, and elephants, they used to go in the forest to migrate, to eat, and to do their own things. Suddenly, they were walking among the shelters, and so they injured and killed many people during the first 6-7 months. And then, international cooperation, they find their solution and to face this kind of issues as others as well. But, in the beginning, it was very harsh situation in the area. And it was also very interesting to see how the international community react to this kind of situation. Because during the last 20-30 years, I have to say that international community, NGOs and other organizations like European Union, they studied already this kind of consequences in different kind of migration, especially in Africa and other places. But the problem is that it's not easy to realize when it's going to happen, a migration. And so to apply the prevention strategies, in order to respond to this kind of crisis. And so, for example, these first pictures, there is only one tree remaining in the place. This is one of the worst refugee camp in the area. You have to imagine that the area is quite small, but not that small. You need at least 1 hour, 20 minutes with motorcycle to go from the first camp until to the last one in the southern part of the Bangladesh in Teknaf. And there are more than 25 camps in all the area. This was one of the worst camp, and this land belonged before the arrival of the Rohingya to a local man. And he showed me the picture of his land. It was very beautiful, full of different kind of crops, rice field, banana trees, bamboos, and everything. And in just one day, government and army arrived to the place and said to the man, please, now we're gonna build the refugee camp in your lands. So the guy lost the land, and in 1 week they built everything, and the land was completely destroyed. And this was the last tree remained, and it was for me very symbolic, this picture. And I went back thanks to the foundation like one year ago, and they cut this tree, so this tree is not there anymore. And as you maybe will see in the exhibition, it was very interesting for me to investigate this narrative of the relation between migration and the environment, because as I said, we to give a different perspective of what is the impact of human beings in our environment. I mean, every one of us has an impact on our environment, but here our individual behavior doesn't have immediate and visible consequences. I went and I tried to realize these stories, because the huge number of people and the quantity of the size of the problem create a kind of visible consequences that you could see and touch with your hands, your breath, your senses straight away, and everything was very visible and metaphoric. So it was a way to investigate micro and macro at the same time. And I think that I did something to show the consequence of this, and it was just an invitation to all of us to be more careful to what we are doing every day. And I think that's all, and thanks again to everyone to be here, and I give you the mic to Lois again. Thank you so much.
We speed up a little bit and walk along the beautiful images and heading for Antonin Bourgeot. I hope it's quite Antonin Bourgeot. Bravo, Antonin Bourgeot, yeah, voilà. Antonin Bourgeot. So, which of course is a very, very different story. It is a very different story. It shares only the situation here, the geographic situation. It's a long alleyway, and preferably people like to come here to read. So it's a lot of text here, but on the other hand, Antona's story is more about pleasure, looking at beautiful things, looking about and heritage in history.
And now the end is near. I will go and start. Hello, I'm Antonin. So I'm a French photographer, and I mainly do commission work. So this one is part of them. So first of all, I want to say a real big thank you to Gacilly, to Sylvia, to Lois, to being able to show my work here and to share time, which is like very important now, because we don't talk too much about that, but the chance to be with my colleague now is really a great opportunity for me, and I really feel like so happy to have time again with them and to share. So this is a very important moment for the network. You know, we use a lot of Instagram to say, okay, I'm here, I'm doing that, but sharing time with each one of you is a very great moment for me, at least, and I feel like a privilege being shown in this beautiful city. And okay, so the work is a commission work, you know. So in Gacilly, every year they ask somebody to work about the land around. So I had the task to work on the Morbihan Gulf, which is a beautiful place. So it was in February. I spent a week only, so it was like a rush, you know. And there's like more than 40 pictures, so which is a bit crazy, but it's okay. I mean, it's nice. I'm really happy with that. And I choose to work. One of the scary thing for me is the people in the world. You know, there's too much now. I feel like a bit too much. So that's why you will find very little people in my pictures. And I wanted to have maybe in a bit of a pretentious way to have pictures that will stay. You know, picture that you think that could be taken long time ago. And so that's why it's black and white. It's very still. It's I mean, it's timeless. You know, sometimes you feel it could have been taken maybe a long time ago. You were showing us the picture on this beautiful, you know, like black and white picture. So it's okay. It's I don't have much to say about that. You can read the text, of course, and you can ask me any questions, because I'm starting to be a bit hungry too. Thank you very much.
And the next exhibition of Moni Sharma is not such a large one, so maybe there's lesser words to it, so I don't know.
I'll make sure I'll take very less time.
No, we go first there.
I'm waiting for the wine, so.
I was just joking. What was it? Lesser pictures, more words, maybe. Or we can reverse it, you know. His work is, well, it's a dark work. As a matter of fact, it's an important work. It's about, about us. About us and what we cause. What we do to the world and what we kind of try to neglect. We are aware, but do not want to be aware at all. And in India, due to the heavy population, it becomes more easily visible than maybe somewhere else in the world. And the storyline Moni Sharma did coin to make us look at is a really good one. So we are closing in. What is the topic, Moni?
The topic is mainly on pollution, air pollution and river pollution, water pollution, and we'll just be there and speak more on that. Let them come maybe. Good evening. Thank you, Baden. Thank you, Louis, for this opportunity here. It's wonderful to be here and showing my work. My name is Mani. I work for AFP News Agency in Delhi, India. My work here is mostly on the environment, the air pollution and the water pollution, and especially in New Delhi, which is the capital city. But still, for every year annually, we fight with a lot of air pollution for a couple of months, which is, even before COVID, we started wearing masks. It's been a couple of years we are doing that, starting from October, November till January. So all the work you see here, it's not from the capital, but mostly there and outside is all about the pollution, the air pollution, and especially the couple of images there are from the water pollution. You'll see where, you could see the whole Indianness, where people really get into a river, and pray, annual festival. But if you see the image, it's almost there in the last, but if you see the image there and you see the kind, how we destroyed or how the humans have destroyed those rivers, beautiful river, it's really sad to see that. And it's all about the same in each and every picture. Here, the work you see is of a coal mine. This is an area, not in the capital again, in another state, but there's an open cast coal mine. And what you see here, when I went there, I was shocked to see, the normal people, they are just collecting coal, which is scattered on the road by their trucks and everything, and that's their daily living. But not a single leaf was or anywhere was of green color. Even if you see here, there, it's all, this guy, it's all, covered with the coal dust or whatever we can say about that. And kind of living they do there, it's hard to imagine. The air they breathe there every single day is, killing them day by day. And then there's nothing that's happening from the officials, nothing we can do. It's all about that. And please have a look. Thank you so much.
And by the way, India is one of my most favorite countries in the world. I had the pleasure to work there a few times, and I always enjoyed it. For me, it was never too crowded, not too many people, but sometimes, in particular in Delhi, pollution is, my goodness. It's really like on these images, you do not want to breathe anymore. And it's absolutely crazy. And of course, there's a lot more water pollution, and in particular the Ganges, even in the holy sites, like in Varanasi, it's unbelievable what's going on. But on the other hand, yeah, you know how they justify it. Success, economic success, lesser people starving than ever, which is a fact. Even given this crazy circumstances, people do not die, or lesser people die. And this is, of course, an achievement. Jérôme Blanc.
Jérôme Blanc. So, here we are back in Morbihan in Bretagne. So after Antonin Borgeot, who took pictures in Golfe du Morbihan, you know, Golfe du Morbihan is famous because it's a very small sea in south of Bretagne with 300 islands, very small island. So, well, and here we are closer to La Gacilly because we are in La Gacilly town. So Jérôme Blanc, a French photographer, and it's a work he made during an artist residence in La Gacilly. So La Gacilly is a town in the countryside, and Jérôme Blanc worked on teenagers in the rural world in France. So here in Bretagne especially. He focused on what they expect the teenagers, for their future. What does that mean when you are 15? And what choice you can make for your future life when you are coming from and living in a small town in the countryside. So this work show that and then just to tell also that he was himself coming from a farming family and chose to become a photographer. So many of his photographic work is like an echo of his personal path and history. Thank you. Now we finish with France. We go back in Iran. And after in Kinshasa. And after in all over the world with Descamps, Bernard Descamps. Abbas, Iran, is the next one.
Everybody's waiting for us. Yeah. So now we are coming to meet an absolute superstar. One of the greatest photographers Magnum ever had. And I like him but already because of one sentence which was always related to him. Is he was traveling first class on an airplane from Asia to Paris and said, "We are fighting for the revolution, but first class." This is attributed to him. I cannot confirm it, but I did read it several times. And I think it's a charming sentence. And why should we photographers suffer? Because we are photographing suffering that doesn't make much sense. Why should we suffer? So, and as you of course know, ladies and gentlemen, we have someone here, we have two people here who are super qualified to speak about Abbas. One is almost Abbas because it's genetically very close. And the other one is business-wise very close. So that's a pretty good combination, I guess, having this closeness. And first, I'd like to introduce to you the lady in charge of this work at Magnum, Andrea Holzer, or Andrea Holzer. Andrea. So, and she will introduce the brother of Abbas.
Thank you, everybody, and welcome. We have prepared a speech which will last about an hour, so I hope you're comfortable with that. No, jokes aside, we know that you are tired and hungry and thirsty, and we're nearly at the end of the road. But yes, I met Abbas in 2003 when I started working with, that's Abbas actually calling. When I started working for Magnum, and Abbas started with Magnum in 1985. Before that he worked with Gamma and SIPA. And when I met him, he had already done lots of reportages. The one that you probably all know was on the Iran Revolution. And then when I met him, actually, he was well into his largest and longest project, which was about religion. And not just the spiritual side of religion, but the political side of religion. And now I'm handing over to Benham, who is Abbas's brother. And he'll say a few words because he, Melissa and Cyril curated this exhibition together as a homage.
Hello, everyone. Abbas used to say that he wrote with light. But he also said that if we have to talk about the picture, so it's not a good picture. So enjoy.
No. Oh, a little bit more. Maybe one more.
Abbas worked a lot, during the so-called revolution in Iran. He felt first it was his own revolution. But when he saw the picture, is over there, I think, was the Hoveyda at the morgue, there was the ex-prime minister, he said it's not anymore his revolution. But he thought that at that time that the Islam will go up around the world. So he started working on Islam for 7 years, and then he followed up with all the religion, different religion like the Christianity and things like that. And he wanted to know what people, how you say that, what's the fate and how the people express that fate around the world and with the different religion. So that's his biggest work. He spent about 20 years about working on religion and faith. Thank you. Thank you. That's enough.
Well, it's never enough to hear about your brother, but we accept your delivery, and it's wonderful to have you here. Thank you so much. And the third last is Hashem Shakeri. You know, he has a 1 hour speech prepared, of course. I saw it. It's frightening long. No, I'm just joking. Please talk to us. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Okay, cool. Hi, everyone. Happy to see you here. Actually, 2 projects of mine have been exhibited here, and they are parts of a larger trilogy about 3 contemporary social issues of the community of Iran. And this trilogy deals with exile, isolation, self-alienation, and social exclusion of a few groups of people in the society of Iran these days. This is the first part of my project, which is called An Elegy for the Death of Hamun. And I have been working on it for more than 5 years, and it is still an ongoing project. It is about climate change, drought, and water crisis, and also government mismanagement in the environmental field in Sistan and Baluchistan region. Sistan and Baluchistan is the largest province of Iran, which is located in southeast of the country, and it has borders with Afghanistan and Pakistan. It was a forest in the past with the history of over 5,000 years, and it used to be a great source of crops in the country, but now the province is facing rapid climate change and environmental crisis, and this region became an infertile desert. I have traveled for more than hundreds of kilometers from north part of the province to south and captured the people who lives in harsh situations, and they are struggling with various types of environmental problems, and its consequences are lack of fresh water, deprivation from health, hygiene, education, and employment. Actually, the highest rate of immigration is in this province, and in north of the province, in Sistan region, there is on the border of Iran and Afghanistan, there is a big freshwater lake which is called Hamun Lake, and it is the 3rd largest lake in Iran and 7th international wetland in the world. But it has been dried out for more than 20 years. In the past, people made their living by fishing, farming, and animal husbandry, and their lives were totally dependent on Hamun Lake. With dying of Hamun, the great diversity of wildlife and vegetation have been destroyed. In my first encounter with this forgotten land in Sistan and Baluchistan region, I realized that the drying of Hamun made a deep impact on their lives, and they everywhere that I went, they talk about their old green memories, and I have tried to depict they have been mourning. Okay, no, sorry, I'm sorry. Sorry. Okay. They believe that drawing of Hamun, derive from Hamun has taken away their lives with itself. The atmosphere of this place reminded me so much of Waiting for Godot, and it inspired me to depict a post-catastrophic and absurd moment with melancholic and lonely human, and the moment which is closest to our lives more than ever in the history of our land. And actually, their voices have been never heard so far, and since last year, those people are one of the most effective in the recent uprising in Iran, in woman life freedom uprising. And now the second part of my trilogy, and this is the second part of my project, my trilogy. Okay. This is the second part of my project in my trilogy, and I have been working on it for more than 7 years, and it is also an ongoing project. It is actually about the economic crisis and the destruction of environment, and also it is examining of new concept of contemporary exile. Actually, Iran suffers from economic crisis for different reasons, and therefore the rents are increasing with high inflation, and that's why the residents of metropolitan cities have to move to cheaper marginal areas. Right now, this is one of the biggest problems of the residents in big cities, which has changed into a problem that cannot be solved in the country. The Mehr project, initiated in 2007 as the largest state-funded housing project in the history of Iran, which could never fulfill wishes of its citizens. These new satellite towns don't have any structures and facilities for social and urban atmosphere, and they are just some buildings that have grown like mushrooms in the heart of mountain. This is a contemporary sample of exile of modern humans and the destruction of the environment. In this project, I have tried to depict the defeat of the lonely human being in the middle of these great structures. Actually, this is following my first project in the same line and same approach. And I have tried to show these areas and lonely human in melancholic and also apocalyptic way, and also timeless and placeless way. And regarding the name of my project, Cast Out of Heaven, has been inspired by the name of one of these Serbian areas called Paradis. That is the Persian word for paradise or heaven. And it acts like an irony because it seems that the place where they have been exiled from is the main paradise, and it is not. I met many people in these satellite towns who told me that we were exiled here. And in the end, for these two projects, I use a medium format analog camera with 3 to 4 overexpose, and I think it is the best perspective and the atmosphere gives me for my projects. Thank you so much.
So Stéphane Gladieux is here in the orangery and behind you in the 4 cubes. So Stéphane Gladieux is a French photographer born in '69, and this series is called Homo Detritus. and it is coming from Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, so Congo Kinshasa. So this country is the second largest country of Africa, with one of the richest subsoil in the world, and DRC is one of the poorest country on our world. Kinshasa, Kinshasa and the city and around are kinds of the wettest place with lots of different kind of wettest, like mobile phone, plastics, cans, electric cables, and so on. Stéphane Gladieux is make a lot of portrait for press magazine, or I don't know, and then he went to Kinshasa and he met this artist, because Kinshasa is also not only the city of the west but also a city with a lot of artists. And especially a very rich city of artists, and especially this collective that Stéphane Gladieux met, and so he worked with them, with this collective of artists called Daku Ya La Vie est Belle. So that means Daku Ya, Life is Beautiful. So this group of artists, this collective, was founded 7 years ago by the visual artist Eddie Ekete. They use waste as their raw material, and they put together to make costumes and masks inspired by the African tradition. Stéphane Gladieux work with them to make these portraits in the streets of Kinshasa with the reality of these waste elements as background. They want together the collective of artists and also, of course, Stéphane Gladieux, by this artistic way, to alert people about, to alert the rest of the world about the pollution and the situation in this year and in Kinshasa especially. If you have any question about Kinshasa, each time I add some few elements for you can interview, because this is a media tour, so you can have interview during the dinner after and tomorrow, of course. And so if you have any question about Kinshasa and also about this collective of artists, Pascal Maître, who is here, know them very well, know the country and the city, of course, very, very, very well, and know also the collective of the artists, so he can talk about it. If you have any question, go and ask him.
So, like in the movies, Florence the last.
So, Bernard Descamps. I said it with the French accent. Bernard Descamps. He born in France in 1947. Sorry. So he began the photography in the 70s after having studied biology. Still passionate by science, he considered the act of shooting as a way to understand the nature. Traveling a lot, India, Mali, beautiful picture, Venezuela, and so on. Speaking about the reality, not only misery of violence. He says that he's pressed the shutter button when he finds something beautiful. He says also that a photograph is like a self-portrait, because you photograph yourself projected into reality. He's also, he's represented by a very, very nice gallery in Paris called Didier Brousse. Didier Brousse is the Well, we know. Well, just now, okay, I didn't note it. And he's also Camera Obscura. Thank you, merci to be my memory. So, founded by Didier Bruce, but very nice gallery for photography in Paris. So he's also one of the founder and permanent member of Agence Vue, well known also. So it was in 1986, the founding of Agence Vue, and he's one of the very permanent member and founder. And he's really a great photographer. We love him so well. So this is how to finish with this master of photography coming from France, but well, he was not here, but he's okay.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.